Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, Constitutional Crisis Channel, and my friend has a question for me.
What do you hope to get out of Talkshoe Radio?
Wow, well, a lot of good things come to mind. They're obviously a much bigger audience, which they have. There's no question about that. But it's more involved than just that. Because these talk show things, the nice part is I get basically a 3 hour a cappella shot at just talking whatever comes into my head and getting it across to people and taking a lot of questions and answers during the course of these 3 hours, too. Because unfortunately, I don't have 48-hour days. As much as I would love to talk to people on the phone, I can't rarely do that because the schedule is just tight. I mean, at my age, and I'll be 70 in a few months here, I'm working 14, sometimes 16 hours a day, and I love that I can still do it. I love it. Not a complaint. But it just doesn't leave a lot of time for anything else. So I regret, and I say it up front, I would love to talk to all of you on the phone. And the ship comes in here, as I've been kept saying, it's coming in here, and I get somewhat better off. I can set up some regular hours during the course of the week where I'll be able to do that. And I hope I can do it maybe even before the summer's over if all goes well. But that said, the talk show is good, and also they have a lot of other people on this same talk show, that a lot of other kooks like me to talk about things, and some statutory gurus with whom I might not agree for the most part. But you get to meet a lot more people, and this helps you to be able to network and maybe work together with some people that believe a lot of what you believe and do somewhat the same thing, and combine your resources and pool your talents and make your efforts even better. And then we get there quicker, and the sooner we get there, I mean, this offensive stuff starts to turn over and go successfully. It's going to go viral like no one has ever seen before. We can actually go in and get redress, and maybe even get some of these black robe bastards and dumbasses thrown into jail. And there are cases I would do that. My South Carolina case is clearly one of those where they deserve to be there for a hell of a long time. Not so much the judge in that case. I think did what she was ordered to do. But the local dumbass there, watch out. You're not going to get any more breaks from me than what you gave me during the course of the 5 months I was back there in Columbia. And you'll be there a lot longer. So that said, there's a lot of good things about talk show. I hope to increase my presence on talk show. I may even sometime later get my own where I go on myself on a regular basis in addition to working with Angela Stark, which I really enjoy doing. It's been a very good experience, and a lot of good things have happened because of it, and I want to thank her for taking me on, especially without much notice and not knowing who the hell I was, because I could have really have been some kind of a kook, you don't know. But almost from day one, I talked to her on the phone, and I did my first appearance back on January 11th. We have not had any problems at all. I mean, she recognizes, and a lot of people out there in the audience recognize. You know it when you see it, or on talk you hear it. Just like anybody else, if you recognize that the people know what they're talking about, that I'm passionate about it, that I'm committed, not like to a psych hospital, and that I have a lot of integrity. And I credit my mom for a lot of that when I was growing up. That's where I got that from. As a single mom family, it was tough, but Dad was an alcoholic, and he wasn't a bad person, but he just wasn't there. But at the time when I was growing up, back in the 50s and 60s, I got a lot of good things from my mom, and to this day I appreciate that. And I know she's looking down on me and saying, my God, what have I started here? I used to always tease her about that and say, well, that's your fault, because we would go to, at that time it was a drive-in, not the Burger King, but there was another one. And one day she got a cheeseburger she didn't like at all, and she got angry and called the person back out there and sent it back. They got a new one. Well, I was hiding in the back seat because I was so embarrassed she would do something like that. Well, soon enough, I figured out that if you don't stand up for your rights, you're not going to have any, and that's the lesson she was trying to teach me there. I would be surprised if she ever thought it would get to this stage. I wish Mom was around. She's been gone now for 16 years. I can't believe I'm saying that. But she knew very well the track I was on. Even 16 years ago, she knew. But it's just gotten amazingly better since then, and we have a saying in the Davis family, and I'm a Davis from my mom's side, that the Davises do everything well, and historically we have. And it was tough at times because my mom, a quick story about her, as my uncles went to college, everybody went to college, which is unusual at that time for this family, and they were all really good athletes and did really well in college. And my uncle Bob came back one time. He was a football player and an All-American at the time at the University of Tennessee. And he was really good, and he asked his grandfather, how he liked what I was doing and this, that, and the other. And his grandfather said, It's really good, and I appreciate that. And he was somewhat disappointed that, that's all that he said, because he was an All-American, got honors, got drafted by the Green Bay Packers, but did not play Pro Bowls within the 1950s. And my grandfather looked at him and said, well, it's not so much what you've done, but you have to go out there and do it again and repeat it. He never let him get out from under, never let him get a big head or anything. He said, yeah, go and keep doing it. I mean, you just can't do something really well and then stop doing it. You have to go out there, whether it's life or what have you, do it again. And at the end, I found out that my mom never got much in the way of encouragement from my grandfather either. And yet she and my Aunt Yvonne, her older sister, were the ones when growing up, and this was true at the time in the 1920s, with families of that size, you were responsible for the education of your younger siblings. That fell a lot to you. I'm sure the parents were involved a little bit too, but it was basically the children's job, and they had to get, at the time, the grading system was such that the top grade was a AAA, and if mom would come on with the report card with the AA plus, she would get a talking to. If it would drop down to a double A, she would get a timeout, and if it went to a single A plus, she would get a whipping. I mean, he didn't broach any BS about that, and she got the same treatment if her younger siblings did that. This was her fault too. So there's a lot of stuff that went on there. But she found out later on, when he had moved to Florida, at least for the summertime, that he was asked by some other members of the family, aren't you proud of, your oldest daughters, Yvonne and my mom, Margaret? And he said, yeah, he was very proud of them, especially my mom. And when she heard that, she broke down and cried, because she'd never heard that the entire time she was growing up or having the family or anything. But to have him say that, and that's, just to quickly, that's not related to legal stuff, but it's the basis upon which I operate. I try to continue to do it the best I can, present it to you so that you can do it the best you can, and at a very modest price. My documents are dirt cheap compared to what you pay, even from the public pretender, for crying out loud. And they don't know 1/20th of what I know, for crying. They won't understand the issues. But if you do and they don't and the dumbass doesn't, that's when it gets really interesting. And you see the power that you not only have, but you should have had and would have had if the bastards would have taught you this in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. American history, civics, what have you. They didn't do it 50 years ago. They're not doing it now because they don't want you to know you have it. Because once that secret comes out, you never want to let it go. I mean, you have that kind of power, which is what we have. You never want to let it go, and you want to teach your posterity and your children to do the same thing so they can get out from under this obnoxious system too. Well, I've been on more than I should, but I hope you get the idea here. Thank you.